Hello, everyone, and welcome to Gutshot, home of the hottest takes in Magic the Gathering. I am one of your hosts, Warcrimes Uwu, and joining me as always is your other host, Aggressive Rhetoric.
Yes, this is episode number 27 of your Gutshot program, and Fred, no joke, I think we're going to make a lot of people mad with this one.
Yeah, I am quite excited. I don't know if I call it their program. You get no say in what we talk about. We will be discussing Weezer in every episode now.
No, Fred, it's your program. It's your show. You can do
gotcha.
whatever. Your show. You can do whatever you want, man.
I'm
anyway,
paying
we're
you
talking.
Dogecoin.
I would love it if you'd pay me in Dogecoin. So lots of people have lots of strong opinions about what we're talking about this episode. We are talking about our favorite basic lands. Lots of people have lots of opinions on this, and we have better ones than you do.
That's true, always. But before we talk about basic lands, there's a lot of news that's happened in Magic since last we spoke to you all. Will, do you want to rattle through it and we'll give our hot takes?
Sure, yeah. So we're not going to spend a lot of time on this. It's just, the news. So we're going to mention it here real quick. But yeah, Wizards announced their Summer of Legend for 2021 with a lot of exciting and then less exciting stuff coming down the pipeline for Magic the Gathering. First off the bat, we have Modern Horizons 2 officially announced with a release date of June 3rd on Magic Online and then June 18th in paper. That one's not coming to Arena. The next standard set, the D&D set, Adventures in the Forgotten Realms, we're getting that July 8th online and then July 23rd in paper. So that'll be the next standard set to look forward to. And that's also coming with a bunch of new pre-con commander decks. So we don't have to wait another year before we get another set of 5 of those. American sanctioned play is officially reopening on May 28th. It's been open a couple of different places in the world that didn't have such a bad time with the situation going on. So that's exciting. If you want to get back to the LGS, that's when you'll be able to do it for sanctioned play. And they're doing a couple of perks to get people to come back into the LGS. So on June 18th, they're going to be giving out old foil border Fable Passage for $50 or more purchases at your LGS, and hopefully you would actually be able to get that and not just find them in the case and then they don't have any. But they're doing other stuff in addition to that they haven't announced yet. But also another thing for LGS is in late 2021, not a set date for this, but Mystery Booster Convention Edition will be coming to LGSs, and again, hopefully your LGS will actually set those aside for events and not just sell them. For Arena, I know a lot of that is for paper and in person. If you're an Arena player, there's a lot of news coming out for you as well. Historic Anthology 5 is announced for May 28th, and we're starting to see a couple of cards for that, like Ojutai's Command and a few others. Got some Arena events coming up. Jumpstart is coming back to Arena on June 4th. I'm excited about that. The next Arena Open is going to be standard, and that's on July 31st. And then something they haven't done before, an event called Mirror, where they're actually going to rebalance cards like Oko and 3 mana Teferi, and that'll be sometime in July. Man, that is a lot of news, and it's almost a little unfortunate that they put it all into one huge announcement. But Fred, I gotta ask you, out of all of this, what are you most excited about for the Summer of Legend?
I gotta say, Historic Anthology 5 looks awesome. It's got a lot of cards I'm excited about. Dromoka Command, Vault Scourge. But Moho 2 has spoiled some cards so far. Urza's Saga is insanely cool. There's a lot of neat stuff. And I'm really excited to roll up to my LGS, pick up my 2 pre-release kits, and get my foil border Fable Passage with them. Yeah.
I'm excited about the Fable passages too, and I know that you were excited for that Fetchland reprint. That's right, enemy-colored fetches officially reprinted at Rare in Modern Horizons 2. How do you feel about that?
I'm excited. It's not enough. Like, if Modern Horizons 2 was a $4 pack, it'd be a lot better. I guess it's a reprint. They're gonna dip by like $10 for a little bit, so should be happy about that. But I think they could be managing the reprints of fetches a lot better.
This is something that I said to you just the other day. The price is not going to go down to the point where it's like the correct price for fetches, but regardless, it is still the correct time to buy them if you need them, because that's just, they get the reprint, the price is going to go down, even though it's still way more than they ought to be. It's probably the best you're going to get. So if you need them, it's probably still the best time to buy them. Well, yeah, Modern Horizons 2, I'm excited about that. Hopefully there's not another Hogak or Urza situation. I'm holding out hope that they've, learned their lesson. But for me, I'm super excited about sanctioned play reopening on the 28th. I have a vaccine. I think that you're either have yours or you're well on your way for yours, and I've been feeling it. I'm missing it. I'm a bit of an old school player myself. I grew up in that kind of LGS, going every week, meeting people there. That's where you and I met, and I'm feeling I need to get back into the LGS. So I'm looking forward to going and seeing my fellow Magic player again.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm not looking forward to smelling my fellow Magic player. But
yeah, for sure. Do you want to draft Mystery Booster Convention Edition?
Not really. That's just the kind of, like, that product is not for me, not in like a shitty, like, you're too poor for this kind of way. It's just not something I'm particularly excited about. I thought the designs were cool, but I don't really care much about drafting it. What about you?
Yeah. I'm interested in doing it once, but I don't think it's something like I'd rather just spend that money on, modern cards, right?
Yeah, that's probably about where I'd land.
Yeah, buy those fetch lands I need to get out. Yeah, so lots of stuff there. We're just going to breeze past it real quick. Let's move on to our new, our main topic for this episode, our favorite basic lands. Now, mine is an interesting mix of just stuff I find aesthetically pleasing. A lot of it is nostalgia based, and at least a few are like aspirational. Like I'd really I know I love those. I don't think I'll ever have them, but yeah. So it's a real mix for me.
Yeah, I also eventually want to own a swamp from Innistrad.
Yeah, for sure. Well, who's going first? I think I'm going first here. So
I believe you are. Yes.
I'll just go ahead and start it off here. This is a 9th edition forest. I believe it's number 348 out of 9th edition, done by John Avon, an artist that is very well loved for his landscapes in the Magic universe. And I love this for a couple of reasons. I love that green bloom light that's coming through the trees there. I just think it's very aesthetic, and I have a soft spot in my heart for white bordered cards just in general. It really takes me back to my beginnings in Magic, and I've never been somebody to be like, oh, it has to be a black border. I cannot have white border. I always need to make sure I get a black border. The white borders, they really are kind of a part of me as a Magic player, and I don't shy away from it at all. So I see these 9th edition cards, which was like my heyday when I fell in love with Magic, and they just fill me with so much. They bring me back to that feeling you get when you first discover the game and you think this is the greatest thing that I've ever found. So lots of love for this forest.
Yeah, I guess like I am a little too newer to the game. I mean, I started playing Scars, but like I'm a little too new to the game to have nostalgia for white bordered cards. Like I got my uncle's old white border collection when he stopped playing. I will say I have a much less virtuous and valid reason to like white border cards. I like them because they piss off players who don't like white border cards. So that's the reason I would play these. I like this art a lot. It's very pretty art. It's like simple, but it's got a lot going on. Like when you really like look at it. Yeah, I would say that I enjoy this basic land.
Yeah, sorry, audio only listeners. If you want the full experience of this, we're uploading all of this to YouTube. I'd say we're really more of a YouTube focused, content situation here. So if you want to see the cards that we're talking about, they are on the YouTube. So just search us up, Gutshot MTG, and you'll find us. But yeah, John Avon. Yes.
Alternatively, just quit being a fake Magic fan and memorize what all of the basic lands look like, so you'll know which ones we're talking about off the top of your head.
That's true. That's true. If you're going to be a Magic player, you have to have an encyclopedic knowledge of all of these cards, right?
Yes, yeah, correct. You should go on Scryfall random and play Russian roulette in that shoot yourself in the head if you don't know all 6 of the randoms that you click on.
Ooh, yeah, okay. Well, yeah, John Avon, loved in Magic, really known for his landscapes. Can't go wrong with any of his art. But yeah, love this card. And what is your favorite basic land to start us off?
All right, this is not like in any particular order. I wouldn't say it's my favorite basic land, but this is from right when I started playing, and I call it the Waffle Swamp. It's from Scars of Mirrodin. It looks kind of like one of those square waffles that you get at like a hotel from their waffle maker. We had like a hotel looking waffle maker at my house growing up, and we would have square waffles on the weekends. My dad would make them. And this kind of like reminds me of that shape, except it's floating in some green gunk. That's what it is in the lore. I don't know Scars from Mirrodin's story very well. But yeah, it's floating in the 100 Gex. What's the name of the guy who?
I don't know.
Gix.
Oh, Gix. Yeah. Gix. I knew you were talking about.
Yeah, that guy. It's floating in his soup. But I really like this art. I'm not really sure why. I would love. I have one foil of this because my cube was all foil basic lands, except you could tell when you were drawing a land because they were all pringled.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I had one of these, but I wouldn't mind having more of these in foil. If I ever like played a black deck in Modern or something, this would probably be the swamp that I'd shoot for. I would love for them to do full arts of a lot of my favorite basic lands, but like they're probably not going to do most of them. But this would be one I would go absolutely soy face for.
Yeah, I really like this one. I love the contrast between like the super dark, almost grayish blue up at the top, highlighting the waffle, and then that sickly green goo at the bottom. I have a huge soft spot in my heart for Mirrodin because that was right around that time that I started. So I definitely was looking at all of their basic lands for both sets blocks for those. And yeah, I think that this perfectly encapsulates kind of greenish, sickly swamp of Mirrodin. So this is a great choice. I love this.
Yeah, I don't know what a Mirrodin is, but I have a soft spot in my heart for sickly green goo. So okay. This one's definitely my favorite.
Absolutely.
So less sickly, just as much green and less goo. Tell us about the next basic lands.
Oh, yeah. So this is an island from the Shards of Alara block. So before the shards converged, and this takes place on Bant. This is island number 234. And as you can see, it's like a very serene coastline with some mountains in the background and a little like castle with a tower in the back. I love this island because it's just so serene. It's natural. It's like you would see this in the real world, even though we look at it and know that it's in Alara, that we know that this is Bant. And it's just like, if I was going to go live in like a seaside town or, live in like the, seaside mountain off a cliff or something like that, this is the site that I would want to see. In terms of like real world, like, this looks just so pretty and I'd love to go there. This really gives me that feeling. And I do really like the lands that kind of could be in real life instead of something that is, just complete fantasy. There's something about that kind of gets me a little bit. So I just like the sereneness and kind of the prettiness of this one.
Yeah, I agree. I like pretty much all the lands that take place on Bant. Like that's definitely the prettiest shard other than maybe Naya. And yeah, I love this one a lot too. I like the sort of the castle in the background, and the sort of how much attention was paid to the way that the tides sort of are rippling onto the coast. Very pretty art by Michael Comark.
Right, yeah, and I know that I'm like a super aggressive red player a lot of the times, but I do have a soft spot for Bant, and Elspeth is my favorite character, so Bant's very good. You tell us about your next basic land.
Yeah, so this one is KC's favorite full art from Zendikar, but I think all of the full art forests from Zendikar just look really good from all the Zendikar sets. This particular one is I feel really bad. I don't know how to pronounce the artist's name, but it's from Zendikar Rising. And I'd originally put another one in there, but they showed me this one, and I like it a lot. I will say, like, I don't like using full art lands because I'm a hipster, and everyone uses full art lands, and I want to be against the grain. I don't want to be mainstream, but this one's pretty. I also like the ones where the trees are kind of choking hedrons. But yeah, I would say this one's. I really like the light, the way they use light, and the way the most like focused tree kind of looks like a dryad. What are your thoughts on this one, Will?
Oh yeah, this one's great. I like that this full art, like it's clearly from Zendikar if if you're familiar with Zendikar, but it's not to Zendikar. Like I don't see any hedrons in this one. You could play this and not be too like sucked into the fact that this is taking place on Zendikar. This could really be anywhere, right? Yeah, the light bloom up at the top is really nice. It contrasts nicely with the dark greens at the bottom. I'm also not that. I mean, I'll say they look nice, but I'm not a huge fan of using full arts in Magic because it is kind of the trend, right? That's kind of what everyone wants, and I feel that too. I kind of want to go a bit against the grain, and you'll see that with some of my picks later. But if you're going to do a full art, this is a good one to do. And I also like the fact of someone choosing, like specifically being able to go with full art and choosing this one specifically, since this one is kind of, it's kind of the bad choice, right? Like if you're going to have full arts, this is like the lowest tier that most people would assume, right?
Because it's the new one from Zendikar Rising. Yeah.
I like the idea of choosing this one specifically to flex. It's like, I'll do full art, but I'm choosing to do the bad one because I'm better than you. So
no Bowl Island.
There's a low value there. No, I like this. This is a good choice.
Yeah. So next we've got, this is not the one that I thought it was going to be before I clicked on the link. So explain this one to us.
Sure. Yeah. Oh, Casey has good taste, by the way. Just want to point that out.
You just said it was the bad one.
No. Okay, so mine is Mountain. It's one of the mountains from the original Ravnica block, Ravnica City of Guilds. This is number 302. And this is another nostalgia pick for me, but also I love the aesthetics of this. This one has been reprinted a lot, so you probably have seen this one before if you've seen any Huge Stack of Mountains. It's a cityscape with these, huge, like, spiky towers going straight up into the air and just tons of red, tons of smoke, and they're just all reaching all the way up. It, like, almost, like, all the sky is just kind of blacked out by these, almost, they look like they're burning towers. It's a really cool, this is another nostalgia pick for me. I'm a huge red player, love playing red aggressive decks, and this is a very aggressive looking mountain, and I've always loved it. I remember playing this a lot, back in the day, and I just think this really encapsulates what like red is. It's just red fire in your face, very aggressive.
Yeah, I would say of all of our picks, this is the one that is least the basic land type that it is. Like, this is very obviously not a mountain. But I like this art too. There was another Ravnican mountain that I'm a little bit more partial to, but I do really like the way they mix they make the cityscapes into like whatever color mana they provide for the Ravnica basic lands. And this one's also a favorite. I do remember opening commander decks precons that have like 10 copies of this, and I think this has been in like 2 core sets. So this one's widely available, and it's a good one for them to make widely available because this art is very pretty.
Oh, yeah. It's clearly popular because, I mean, that's why they chose to, reprint it over and over again. I remember back in the day when people were trying to speculate how they would do green in Ravnica, because they were like, if it's a city world, how can there be forest? How are they going to do green? And of course, they would just kind of like, it's the idea, like the philosophical idea of green and not just trees. Cool that they were able to just kind of not worry about that so much and just be like, it's a mountain because it embodies the the flavor of mountains instead of actually being a mountain. But yeah, lots of love for this one. What is your next favorite basic land?
Yeah, so this one is I actually kind of still want a bunch of foils of this for my modern deck that aren't Pringly. This is The Forest by Adam Paquette from Khans of Tarkir, and it's sort of like a couple of like Sultai temples shrouded by jungle trees. And I really love the sense of perspective here and the use of negative space, the only art term that I know, that really kind of like beckons the eye to the temples. Like you kind of want to walk in there and see what's going on. And I just really love the way that this piece does that. I think it's really pretty. I like Sultai. I love the lore of Khans of Tarkir in general. And I think like one of my other favorite forests is the Abzan forest from Khans of Tarkir. But just the way that your eye is drawn to the temple and you want to walk into the piece and go see what's going on. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I love that. It's very beckoning, and you know that something probably not great is past that ruinous structure in the back, but yeah, you still feel drawn for it. And I know that like Tarkir, the world, I know that you drafted a ton of that block, and I know it probably has a special place in your heart, right?
Yeah, for sure. That was also like I opened like a foil of that basic land and I took it in a draft over the rare once,
Mhm.
which is an interesting story. Probably objectively a pretty bad decision, but I
Oh
had
well.
fun.
Yeah, we have to have fun, right? Yeah, Adam Paquette, this is a great art. Are we going to get canceled for not mentioning the artists on all of these cards?
I think we're gonna get canceled because the one with a vaguely hard name I couldn't pronounce, I gave up.
Sure, yeah. I'm
We're gonna
going to go
actually
back.
get canceled for that.
Right. Your swamp was done by Lars Grant West. Very
Yeah.
great art. Thank you for doing that. We mentioned mine. Tiamwa X, I believe is how that's pronounced. I'm sorry if that's wrong, but this is great art. Thank you for doing that. Richard Wright did the Ravnica Mountain. You know, lots of great work by him that I know of. And Adam Paquette. I'll make sure to do the artist because that is kind of what we're talking about. We got
Yeah.
to give credit where it's due, right?
Absolutely. My bad.
No worries, no worries. It's me. You're doing it more than I am. But yeah, let me move on to my next one. This is another John Avon one,
Yeah.
and this is very different from anything you'd see in Magic, right? This is a bit of a nostalgia pick for me. It's Mirrodin Plains. This is number 290, and also done by John Avon. And like I mentioned the Bant Alara Island being pretty much just a scene from, real life. This one could not happen in real life. This is the other end of the spectrum where it is very much, this is an integral part of what makes this fantasy world a fantasy world. It is depicting the Razorfield plains of Mirrodin where the grass is literally just needles sticking out of the ground, and this is literally just a field of needles. And close up you can see the yellow sun in the back, and it is just a field of needles. Plains are white, not really known as a super aggressive color, although they can obviously do that. This is a very aggressive looking card, and
Yeah.
it has a lot of nostalgia for me back when I first started and was playing a lot of white equipment decks in Mirrodin.
Yeah, take me down to Mirrodin City where the grass is needles and the girls are also needles. I like this a lot. Will, what's a magic opinion you have that would get you told to go sit in the Razor Fields?
I mean, it's probably just that Commander's bad format.
Okay, based.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like this art. It is, as you mentioned, very aggressive. It's basically just a bunch of needles for you to sit on, but the light detail is really good. Yeah, I like the Razorfield too. I'm a bit more partial to the chiller planes of Mirrodin, as we will see later in this list. But yeah,
Yeah.
I'm a pretty big fan of John Avon's work as well, and this is definitely one of his best ones.
This is very far from the normal, like, kind of mystical, serene landscapes that he does. So glad to see that he has, the range to do something so out there. But yeah, love this plains. How about your next one, Fred?
Yeah, so this one's kind of a stand-in for like four different ones. There's a lot of Zendikar swamps with the spooky cubes floating over them. I picked this one, but I like them all. I don't know why. They're just like soggy, spooky hedrons that kind of float over some of the swamps of Zendikar, and they've got purple aura radiating off of them. I like this. I think it's really pretty. This one in particular is by Veronique Mangad. And I just think it's really pretty. I like the little cube tentacle. If your cubes don't have tentacles, what are you doing? You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, this one's very pretty. How do you feel about this one?
Yeah. I won't say that these are my favorite, but I do understand the aesthetic appeal of these. It's very much a swamp, and then the floating cubes really get across the Eldritch horror of the Eldrazi. And I know that wasn't it like Ulamog that was like in cahoots with the Black Vampires of Zendikar, so
Yes.
they had kind of more of a sway in the swamps of Zendikar.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, I like this. I love it that it's it's adding a part of the like fantasy element of the world, and the story, the Eldrazi being these abominable horrors from the great beyond, and melding the two into a really aesthetic piece. So I don't blame you at all for picking this one.
Yeah, I like this one a lot. You've got a really interesting one up next. You've got a Hebrew swamp. Was this one only printed in Hebrew?
Let's. I'm gonna stay away from that. But Jumpstart, I was a huge fan of Jumpstart, and I'm so glad that it's coming back to Arena. And the cool thing about Jumpstart is that when you buy it, each pack is themed to be a certain theme. So you would get stuff like elves, dinosaurs, +1/+1 counters, discarding cards, walls, milling, lots of interesting themes like that. But one of them, and I think this is the only one that was really themed towards like a story part of Magic, is the Phyrexians. And one cool thing that they did was each theme pack had a basic land that was super themed to the theme of the booster. So, if it was dinosaurs, it was like a dinosaur focused forest. And I think the milling one that was blue had a island that had millstone integrated with it. Well, for the Phyrexians, the cool thing that they did is it's cool art. It's very sparse, but it depicts new Phyrexia, a former Mirrodin, and some sort of Phyrexian construct in the art, which is nice. But the cool thing they did for this one is that instead of English text on the card, it is Phyrexian text. So no confusion about whether it being a swamp, as you can see on the screen there. It's very much a swamp, but you get that super awesome Phyrexian script on there. So if you're an Infect player like I am, or you just love the Phyrexians, you have to have these swamps to super theme your Phyrexian decks. I'm so glad that they're willing to go out of the box a little bit to give us cool stuff like this. What do you think of this one?
I like this a lot. I wish it had been a full cycle, so like that your modern Infect deck could have Phyrexian islands and forests in it.
Forests, yeah.
Yeah, but this, or I guess you don't play an island in that deck. But yeah, like I like this a lot. I think it's a really neat thing for them to do. I almost wish they'd gone the full 9 yards and just made it full art as well. But yeah, this is very pretty. By Titus Lunter, this art I like. It complements the Phyrexian writing very well. I'm really into conlangs because I'm a huge nerd, like constructed languages, and I think Phyrexian is really interesting the way that it's all on a line and like it goes over or under the line depending on what you're trying to say. It's just I really like this land a lot.
Yeah,
I like Phyrexian language a lot. I think it's really neat.
Yeah, me too. I'd love to have some of these. I don't think I'll actually be able to get any, but it's there. And hopefully I'll have maybe one or two for maybe like a some sort of deck I put together in the future. But it's there. How about your next one?
Wait, are they expensive?
I don't know. I haven't looked, but also like I have better places to put my money, to be honest. As much as I love these, that money could go towards something else. But what is your next one?
Yeah, so my next one, this is actually my first John Avon one. I think my only John Avon one. This is a mountain from Return to Ravnica. It's the one with all of the very hot coffee makers in it that are... okay, so I don't really understand what's happening here, but I really like it. I think it's a forge. I think it's like a Boros forge. And it's visually, it's very appealing. All of these little cylinders are like dripping hot lava. Which I assume is being used to make weapons of some sort.
They look like columns or something. It's like a columned room or something. But yeah, I have no idea what these are.
Yeah, I like it. I think it's cool. I think the way that the blue like sort of contrasts with the like bright orange lava.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But next we've got a very interesting one. Another Jumpstart land. These are very thematic. Will, tell us about this Plains.
Yeah, there are a lot of great Jumpstart lands, so I wanted to keep it very brief, but I had to mention another one. This is the one for the dogs theme, and as you can see, it has a really awesome, fluffy white dog there having the time of his life in a flowery meadow with butterflies and a bright blue sky. This is very serene, very pretty, and another one that could absolutely be like happening in the real world. This is by Johannes Voss. Great art. I know they do a lot for Magic, and if you like dogs, this is the plains for you. And luckily, I think dogs mostly pop up in white, or I know a lot of the dogs that have been printed recently have been in white. So you'll definitely want these for any dog themed deck that you put together. And even if your deck has no dogs in it, you're not really even a dog person, you cannot say that this is not a perfect serene scene to enjoy while you play your game about people killing each other.
Yeah, for sure. I like Johannes Voss. I like this art. He's done a lot of tokens on Reddit based on this dog recently. His token art is blowing up. So yeah, it's definitely a good one. I didn't look through the Jumpstart lands. I probably should have. There probably would have been a lot that I like, because I like the two that you put in here.
For sure.
So I just kind of went with my classic phase.
Yeah, if you like special themed basics, just go through all the Jumpstart ones. I'm sure that you and our listeners will find ones that you love. But I only kept it to two Jumpstart ones. These are my two favorites, even though I'm a cat person. But yeah, love this Plains. Why don't you tell us about your next one, Fred?
Yeah, so this next one is the Swamp from Lorwin by Ron Spears. I like it because it's so colorful, which is, like, it's hard to find that in swamps. Like, most swamps are just gray or black, or at best there's some nice green goop in there. But yeah, I like this. It manages to be colorful without just being a pool of Gix's gamer fuel. And, like, the way that the flowers grow on the vines is just really pretty. The way it's sort of leading out into the ocean. I think this might be my favorite basic land art of all time. It's just so different from what a swamp usually is, and it's so pretty.
Yeah, for sure. Isn't this one worth money?
Maybe. I have a foil of this one.
I think this is one. Yeah, there are those weird Lorwin swamps and islands that are colorful like this one that are worth money, just from Fairies players wanting these cool islands and swamps that, as you said, look so different from the rest of what we get. Yeah, we have to remember, we think of swamps as just being deadlands where nothing grows and it's all icky and yucky, but it's a thriving ecosystem. Like, of course, tons of plants, tons of flowering plants are going to be filling up these swamps because, it is just teeming with life, even though we think it's, a place of death. So, it's great that someone's willing to make swamps that are a bit more colorful than we're used to. And, if you have a foil of this one, you might want to check its price.
Oh yeah, they're going for about $9.
Whoa! Yep. Yeah. There you go, buddy.
All right, I'll probably hold on to it, but
lunch is on you, right?
Yeah. You can have half a bread bowl.
I like Ron Spears. The work that he does is great. He actually, I had a period in my life where I was really into coin flip cards, and Ron Spears did the illustration for a number of cards that are integral to like any sort of like coin flip deck. So soft spot for him for me.
Yeah. I remember that phase. Mm-hmm. Your Okan and Zender split commander deck.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. Look, good times.
Yeah. Good times.
50% of the time.
Right.
A good time 50% of the time. I'll have to write that down sometime.
Hey, but if you've got a thumb out, a good time 75% of the time.
Yep, absolutely.
So speaking of a good time, tell us about your most insufferable hipster opinion, probably.
Okay. This is not, I don't think this is a secret to anyone that's been playing from this era, but, we mentioned it before. We want to be hipsters. We want to be better than everybody else. So, of course, we have to have, contrarian opinions. Right. Lots of people love the full art original Zendikar lands, and I don't blame them. They do look great. They were like the first time that we really got that many, full art lands that weren't like super special like the Unhinged or Unglued. So of course lots of people love them, and they're still pretty a good choice if you want full arts these days. But you could actually get non-full art Zendikar basics. You would have to get these from the pre-cons that they were selling at the time, and me kind of being a fan of pre-cons, especially back then, I think I bought all of them. And you would get these cool full arts that still had the same art. So the one that's on the screen right now is the very famous Cup Island, the floating bowl that has water flowing out of it, and looks great in full art. But here it's cropped to be a normal bordered island. And like for a long time, this was like the super hipster choice if you wanted to show off how like unique and how against the grain you were, you could play these. And I would still say it's quite the flex these days if you pull these out, especially if you're a serious player or you got like a really cool like expensive modern or legacy deck and these are the islands that you're using. That's pretty cool. So props to anybody that's still rocking these.
Yeah, I like the Bowl Island a lot, as I'm sure everyone does. It's definitely like it's probably the most well-known basic land in Magic, I would say. But yeah, I can't get behind buying a precon for any reason. But this is certainly a flex. This is definitely a flex. I think if they had just put like non-basic with the original Zendikar, didn't they put non-full art basics in the fat packs too?
Yes, I believe that's why everyone thought they were going to be in the fat packs or bundles for Battle of Zendikar, and we got that huge, like, expensive run on those. But yeah. So I bought a number of fat packs for Zendikar and ended up with a couple of those packs of full art basic lands I never opened and just hung on to them until I sold a bunch of cards a number of years ago. So yeah, you could absolutely load up on those that way.
Yeah, I like them. Yeah.
Yeah, I understand there might not be for everyone, but they're there if you want to flex on people. What is your next one, Fred?
Yeah, so this is another Plains from Mirrodin, but a little bit less violent. Here, so this is just like I don't know what this is in the lore. I don't know if it belongs to the Leonin or something, but it's just like a blob of sort of land tentacles. It looks like an octopus melting into the earth, and it's got the sort of flat, like hexagonal, like Mirrodin Plains going away from it. I don't know what speaks to me about this piece. I like it a lot. It's by Rob Alexander. Vincent Proce was the one who did the Ball Island. But yeah, this one's by Rob Alexander. It's got the kind of like orange fog over it. I don't really know why I like this, but I do.
It's serene in its own way, it's just the plains, no action, it's just showing landscape. The structure in the middle, it kind of reminds me of a horseshoe crab. Would you say so?
Yeah, which reminds me of a story. We were vacationing on the beach, and my brother got hit in the head by a dead horseshoe crab that was washing up on the wave and got knocked onto his ass. And I wish, if there was one moment in my life I could have had recorded, it would be that. Because it was just so funny. But yeah, right. Horseshoe crabs have a special place in my heart.
Yeah, it also kind of reminds me, I don't know if you ever played Elder Scrolls, I was about to say Mirrodin, Elder Scrolls Morrowind. Some of the Dark Elves have those houses that are like, they kind of look like this. They like bulge up in the middle and then they go out, and they might be made out of like bug shells. I don't remember, but they kind of remind me of those houses too. No, I like this. It's very serene. I could see why anyone would like this.
Yeah. Notices your bulge. Ooh.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So you've got the next one. This one's pretty cool. I like this one.
Yeah. So this one, again, it's just very mountain. We were talking about how the Ravnica lands are more the ethos than the actual physicality of a mountain. This is very much the physicality of a mountain, and you get a lot of contrast. This is a Titanus Lunter, which I know also does a lot of well-liked magic art. This is from Dragons of Tarkir. It's number 261, and I just gotta say, I love the very physical, the stone grays, the dark gray against the light gray, and you get those little streams of red magma. Like when I think of a mountain, like the actual physical mountain, this is what I always think of. And when this first came out, I thought I was going to get a whole bunch of these, and this would just be my mountain, that I would just use forever. Didn't work out that way. I actually own none of these, but I would like to pick up some of these just to have a set. And I just love the kind of contrast between the grays and the reds in this one. What do you think?
Yeah, I think I pretty much agree with you. I like the contrast as well. I think the way that this sort of compares to its counterpart from Khans of Tarkir is really neat, like the magma sort of cracking out. I really like this. I think the shape of it is really nice, where it's got kind of the crag up at the top, and then like steam coming out of the middle. Yeah, I think this is a very good one. Good job, Titus Linter. I like Titus Linter a lot. This is the second time he's appeared on this list, and it's not the last.
Sure. Yeah.
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 Cool.
But out of all of the lands, this is the one I'm most likely to go on TCG Player and be like, how much would it cost for me to buy 20 of these, and just have them. So yeah, love this card.
Yeah, I mean it's from Dragon's Tarkir, so probably not much.
yeah, that's why I'm thinking. How about your next one, Fred?
Yeah, so this next one is the snow-covered island from Modern Horizons, and this one is also by Titus Lunter. I really like the swirls and the the swirly obelisk of ice coming out of the ocean. A lot of people complained about the snow-covered lands from that set being kind of phallic. Personally, I don't really see it. I like the swirls. I like the ice coming off of the central obelisk, and I like the two obelisks in the background that sort of give the piece a sense of symmetry. And I like this is our only full art snow covered island, so if you want full art lands and you're snow covered, this is your only option. But I really like this. I think it's pretty.
Oh yeah. No, I wouldn't say that this is phallic at all. Honestly, it's kind of reminding me of something else in that vein. But if you want snow covered basics that are full art, you have to go with this one. I did look at snow covered for. Excuse me. Excuse me. I did look at snow covered for my list to see if any of those I liked. I got to be honest, I don't really like the art for almost any of the snow covered islands or snow covered lands overall. They're all okay, but none of them reach out to me as like, oh, this is great. I always want to play with this card. Even my most favorite snow land, which is the snow covered forest from Cold Snap, really isn't anything to write home about. So I'm glad that somebody likes the aesthetics of these. And Snow Covered Island, I believe, was in hot demand for quite a while there because of Modern Horizons. So lots of people were rocking these.
Yeah, for sure. And now that we've got like the new snowboarder from Kaldheim, it's a little bit less in demand. But yeah, these were. I remember these being more expensive than basic lands should be for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Those days are a little behind us now, but maybe something will come down the pipeline. We do have Modern Horizons too. We might get something snow in that set. Who knows?
I don't know. I think it'll be Energy or Infect, but we'll have to save that for our Modern Horizons 2 spoiler episode.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. So you've got this next one, and you were making fun of me for being basic.
No. Okay, this is the Theros Nyx lands. Widely considered to be the energy cards of Magic the Gathering. I mean, not energy means something else. Like the Pokemon energy card type card for Magic the Gathering. So this is Nyx, the kind of enchantment overworld that rules over Theros, and there's one for all of them. And this is kind of the whole entire cycle that I like. You get the symbol in the middle, and then it's like nebulous, like it's like a nebula out in outer space, but it's like really coolly lit. It's very, very green. This is the forest that's on screen right now, and it's full art. This may be this is my basic opinion for this episode. I love these Nyx lands, and I actually actively want to play with these. So this is my choice for which full art lands I would want to play, and I would love to have a full set of all of these lands. These are on Arena, and I have the special not foiled, but a special style of these that shift and all that. This is my go-to set of lands on Arena, and I just love these. I think these were a great home run, and I actually really like the energy card comparison. Like I like that. So but you don't like these as much as I do, Fred?
Correct. So these are all by Sam Burley.
Yes.
I don't think they look like lands, and I don't know. I wish we'd gotten like full arts of like Greek inspired like themed lands in that set instead of these.
Sure.
I think they're just kind of like they all kind of look the same. It's hard to tell them apart. I'm just not a fan.
Sure, yeah. Now, I will say that Theros was like our last set that came out before the whole situation where things closed. So, like, I don't think anyone's really had the opportunity to see these in play in a store, because people just haven't been out and playing. So I'm looking forward to the first time that I go back out and start playing Magic in person and paper, and I see somebody playing these. I'm really looking forward to seeing what that looks like, seeing them on the battlefield. I wonder if I'll love them as much as I do seeing them on Arena. But I love these. I'd like to see more kind of out of the box thinking with lands like this, and they are just basic lands. It's not like fetch lands where it's like, oh, it's a super special fetch land, that's going to be $300, but we're going to say it's a reprint, so you can't yell at us for saying we don't reprint fetch lands. It's a basic land, so they can do crazy things like this in the Phyrexian Swamp. And then it's like, if you can't get them even though you want them, it is just a basic land. So I like that they're going in this direction. So
yeah, and I feel like if they're going to do a lot of crossovers, I wish they'd just do them on basic lands. Like the Godzilla basic lands didn't offend me at all. They could do fucking Garfield basic lands. I don't know.
I think that I definitely agree with that, and maybe that's we could go down that rabbit hole in another episode. But what is your next basic land?
Yeah, so this is the so it seems like with every Zendikar set they don't reprint one of the last full art basic lands and they make a new one, and this is the one that they didn't reprint after the first Zendikar. And this is the full art by Veronique Magnad, and it's got like a floating tree over a sort of swamp where like a person is standing, and then there's a bunch of other huge trees. The person is like minuscule in comparison to the trees, and just the way that the sort of light comes in through the canopy is just really beautiful. Excellent use of negative space. This is just a great art, and like honestly, if these weren't expensive in foil, I would probably be using them in Modern.
Yeah, this is a great one. Love the aesthetics of this. A lot like the other full art forest we talked about, from Battle for Zendikar. You get that bloom up at the top, where it's light, and then it kind of contrasts with the dark that's at the bottom. I do like how that tree is just levitating. And that guy, you usually get birds for scale, but we get humans for scale on this one, and it's like, why is this tree floating? So yeah, it's like it has that natural forest look to it. There's no like huge hedrons in this one, but it does have that not supernatural, that fantasy element to it that kind of be like, hey, the plane this comes from, there's something a little wacky going on there. So yeah, this is a great choice.
Yeah. So, speaking of great choices, this one's got a story behind it. Why don't you tell us about the Arabian Nights Mountain?
The Arabian Nights Mountain. So this is my bling option. There are lots of different like super expensive lands that you could get if you wanted to spend a whole bunch of money, and that's mostly like the Guru lands or like a foil original unhinged lands. But here, this is kind of like Fred said, there's a story with this one. So Arabian Nights was the first Magic expansion after Alpha, Beta, and Unlimited. I think Revised came after Arabian Nights. But they were originally going to have it was designed to be its own set with a different card back. So like, because they were thinking that it would be like a separate game using the same rules. And in that idea, they were going to reprint the basic lands because people needed lands to be able to play. That was changed last minute. The card back was changed back to the normal card back, which I think is probably one of the best decisions Magic's ever done. Like, I think don't you think Magic probably would have failed if they had gone with different card backs?
Sleeves could have saved them, but I know they weren't as widespread back then. Like, if they did that now, it'd be weird, but it wouldn't kill the game.
Yeah, we're literally printing other cards on the back of cards now. So yeah. You're right. I think it's one of the best decisions they ever made. But they decided to kind of integrate it with the rest of the game, and that made it to where they didn't really need to reprint basic lands. So they removed the lands except for one. There was only one basic land printed in Arabian Nights, and that's the Arabian Nights Mountain. And these cost about $200 a piece now. These are very expensive because it's such an oddity. It's such a weird point in Magic's history. I know like Patrick Sullivan, who is like known as like the red player in the community, has a whole bunch of these, because he's just kind of known for that. I would love to have a set of these, but I cannot pay $200 a piece for basic lands. But you are an OG aggressive Magic player if you have Arabian Nights Mountains.
This is the same art as the ones from Alpha, Beta, Unlimited, right?
No, I think it's a new art. It is done by Douglas Schuer, so that, like OG magic artist right there. And so it looks very similar to other magic arts. I think it's a different one, but don't quote me on that. But yeah, all of his art kind of has the same kind of aesthetic quality to it. So I could see where like it would look like another card, but yeah, it's just very basic kind of mountainous terrain. There's some trees on there. It goes up into a slope, kind of like it's the Alps or something like that. But yeah, just love this very just very cool card, and would love to have some of these in my collection.
Yeah, I would too, but I'd probably just sell them. I don't. It's very expensive, and it doesn't look flashy to me, and I need shiny.
It's very subtle. You almost have to know the story to be able to know why, if someone pulled one of these out, it'd be like, oh wow, that's Arabian Nights Mountain. That's yeah. And you would have to be a very special type of Magic player to want to spend $200 on a basic mountain.
Yeah, I'm just terrified I accidentally gave some of these away out of my uncle's old collection.
Yeah, I hear you. But yeah, so this is my bling option. I would much rather have one of these than, a silly who cares Guru land. But yeah, so this is my last one. This is the pinnacle of my choice. I believe your last one is coming up. What is your last choice for your favorite basic lands?
Yeah, so I found this cool new black metal band. This is their name.
yeah, absolutely looks like a black metal logo.
Yeah, so Casey reminded me about this one, but I honestly, if I had just remembered that it existed before I made this list by looking through the snow-covered lands, I would have put it on there myself. So this is kind of their pick, but also kind of mine. Yeah, this is a snow-covered forest by Omar Ratan from Kaldheim, and it's just like this kind of maze of branches with an owl just vibing in there. I really like this. With a lot, I don't know a lot of art terminology, so with a lot of these lands, I don't really understand how to describe why I like it, but I just love the way the branches tangle and the way the owl is kind of chilling there, and he's just the right parts are obscured by the branches, but you can still see their face.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like the way the light's coming in from the top.
Yeah, this is a great one. Like snow-covered forest, it's usually like very sparse trees, and it's mostly like a forest floor that's covered in snow. This one, there's almost no floor on this one. It's all just tangly branches. Like you feel like you would be lost, like in like a fairy tale character that gets lost in the woods. This is probably what that looks like. Yeah, so love this. Love the twisting branches. It really kind of disorients you. Looks crazy, chaotic, and then you get the little chibi owl there in the middle just vibing. Yeah, I love this one. I think this is my favorite of the snow-covered arts from Kaldheim. I know in my Finn decks this is the snow-covered forest I choose for that. So this is a great choice. Again, Casey, great taste.
Yeah. So with that, those are our favorite basic lands. Will, how much of a normie am I? How bad were my picks?
No, your picks were great. I think I love that you didn't just say unhinged basics or guru basics. We have I love it when people have those kind of opinions that are a little out of the way, original. That's why I'd say that your picks are very original, and that's a good quality to have.
Yeah, I would say that the same is definitely true for you. I knew you weren't going to be picking any full arts like a sellout. I did. You showed me some that I didn't know about that I was excited about, and then some that are just very you, like the Ravnica Mountain that you picked. Just a very Will card.
Sure. Well, before, what do you think about our option, or what we picked here? Do you love one of the ones that we picked, or do you super disagree with us? You think we have the worst opinions ever? Leave a comment on our YouTube video, or you can talk to us on Twitter at GutshotPod. We'd love to hear what your opinions and what your favorite basics are, and we'd love to hear what you have to say about what we're doing here, just in general. I'd love to read some comments on air. If you any feedback you can give us, we'd love to shout you out on the show, and read some emails we get. So please talk to us. We want to hear what you have to say.
Yeah, for sure. But without further ado, if you're not one of the 4 people who cares about Magic the Gathering and also Weezer's failing career, you're welcome to close the podcast now. we're going to be reviewing as our end segment today. We're going to be reviewing the new record Van Weezer.
We got to come up with a name for these end segments, something really flavorful. We'll talk about that later, but we'll need to come up with a name. Yes, I think that the overlap of Magic players and Weezer fans is actually much, much greater than we're giving it credit for. And the cool thing is that Weezer's still out there putting out music on a regular basis, so we always have something other than Commander to be super angry about.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Well, you gave up the ghost a little bit there. Let me just ask you. Van Weezer just came out a couple of days ago. It's their take on like 80s like hard rock metal, hair metal, stuff like that. Fred, what did you just overall? What was your thoughts on this album?
This album did psychic damage to me.
Okay.
Most of these tracks are just shittier versions of other Weezer tracks that already exist, and some of them are just like really, really bad. Like, I don't know. I listened the first time I listened to the album, I listened to half of it while I was washing dishes, so I couldn't really hear the words. I could just hear the instrumentals, and those were the songs I liked the best on my first listen. Are we doing track by track? Because there's a couple ones that I have really big thoughts about, but
We'll talk about our favorite and least favorite songs, so we'll save that. But overall, so you did not like it overall?
No, I thought it was worse, definitely worse than Black, maybe worse than Pacific Daydream.
That is a very, very low bar. Well, okay, so it took me a couple of listens, but I did eventually warm up to it a little bit. Yeah, like you said, I love the sound of it. Like, if they're trying to go for that Van Halen, kind of a 80s hair metal sound, they definitely got that. The sounds are great. It suffers because it's Weezer songs. It's more Rivers Cuomo bullshit. But I do like some of the songs a lot more than others. So do you have a favorite song on the album?
Like, there were songs I hated the least. I would probably say maybe Blue Dream.
Oh, okay.
Like maybe, I don't know, Precious Metal Girl was like fine just because it was inoffensive.
Sure, yeah. Precious Metal Girl, I believe, is only the second fully acoustic song that they've done as a major album release, with the other one being Butterfly off of Pinkerton.
Oh yeah, because I guess Endless Bummer had electric guitar at the end.
It did, yeah. Well, so Blue Dream is my absolute worst song on here, and that's terrible because it's basically a copy of a Crazy Train, and I love that song. Very lauded, popular song. They basically took Crazy Train and were like, what if this was Octopus's Garden instead? And then it did a huge disservice to both songs. I absolutely hate Blue Dream. I would say I liked the first half of the album a lot more than the second half, except for Precious Metal Girl. I think that's my favorite song. It is very inoffensive. It's kind of, what if Weezer was forced to not be super, super corny? It has a little bit of corniness to it, but it's subdued to the point where it's palatable. And the last couple of songs, like Sheila Can Do It and I Need Her, are just super cringe, even though the hard rock aesthetic is there. But yeah, hate Blue Dream. I would say my favorite song is Precious Metal Girl. I'm gonna force you, give me, is this your strong 10 or is this a strong 0 for you? What is your score out of 10?
Well, hang on, the Shiba Inu, when you said that it was Rivers Cuomo being forced not to be corny, I pictured the Shiba Inu from the Johannes Voss Jumpstart planes, like,
oh yeah,
bonking Rivers on the head and go to corny jail.
That's hilarious. Someone should make that. Absolutely.
Yeah, someone should. Maybe we'll can we make that for the thumbnail? That doesn't have anything to do with the episode.
We can make it really small in the corner.
Can I still do my favorite, least favorite?
Oh,
or
yeah,
specifically my least favorite.
More, yeah.
I wrote something about all the good ones, which I think is by far the worst song on the record. It's like God, the song before The World Has Turned and Left Me Here on the Blue Album. I'm revealing myself as a fake fan. This album's just done so much psychic damage to me. I'm forgetting the good Weezer records. it's like that song without any self-awareness. It's so bizarre. Like, the song set is just cringy until you remember that Rivers Cuomo is like 52. And this is a fucking like whingy incel anthem. Like, he's just wants his trad wife. And like, this song would make me legitimately scared that Rivers Cuomo would shoot up a school if he was allowed within 200 feet of one.
Okay, fair enough. I hate the rest of the song, but I do have to say the chorus for that one is very catchy. I find that one stuck in my head sometimes. But I totally understand you like hating it.
Yeah, I like the rest of it. I think the song on this record that exemplifies the most, like, this is just a shittier version of a better Weezer song from a different record, would be One More Hit. Because Do You Want to Get High from the White Album? Like, the White Album, honestly, I would consider it almost as good as Blue and Pinkerton.
I think that's reasonable, yeah.
Yeah, the more it ages, and, like, Do You Want to Get High is one of the better songs on that record. And that record doesn't really have any bad songs, in my opinion. But One More Hit is just a strictly worse version of Do You Want to Get High. It's just the shock to Do You Want to Get High's lightning bolt. Except that's too nice. It's like it's like a vanilla 4/4, and Do You Want to Get High is Questing Beast. I don't fuck with it, and it just reminded me how bad Weezer is now. And like, I feel like they could make a good record if they took a hiatus for a couple years, like they did before releasing White. I don't know. It's weird incel cringe from a man in his 50s, and I don't care for it. It was very disappointing is the wrong word, because I don't get my hopes up for Weezer records anymore. But like, goddamn.
Sure. Okay, well, if you had to give it a score out of 10, what number would you give it?
2.
Okay, all right, fair enough. I would probably give it a light 6. There are catchy parts of it. I do find some of the songs kind of sticking into my head. It does have some reasonably good songs like Precious Metal Girl, but yeah, there are some very low points on here. So yeah, can't give it more than a 6. So again, what do you all think? I don't know how many people out there are listening to Weezer records as soon as they release. But if you love being Weezer, if you think that we're right in hating on it as much as we are, leave a comment. We'd love to hear it. And I'm interested in reading some comments on air. So please talk to us.
Okay, here's the rub though, audience. If you just like Magic the Gathering and you didn't turn off the podcast, don't listen to Van Weezer. Like, don't listen to Van Weezer if you don't care about Weezer and care about getting angry that Weezer's not good anymore. If you want some music recommendations, Weezer-based, listen to Blue Album or Pinkerton. And if you want some non-Weezer music recommendations, I'm just going to throw one out there. Listen to Emergency and I by the Dismemberment Plan. It's a masterpiece. What's your music recommendation for Magic fans who listen to this podcast but aren't into music?
I'm going to say System of a Down. Listen to Toxicity. The
a good choice. Good choice.
Yeah, I mean, it's the first thing I could come up with. Anyway, we've rambled enough. How you feel about wrapping this one up?
Yeah, let us wrap this one up.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Gut Shot. It really does mean the world to us. If you're watching this on YouTube, if you like the video, please like it and subscribe to the channel if you are interested in getting more Gut Shot content. All of our episodes are here on YouTube, and we're looking forward to maybe doing a little bit, doing some special stuff on here as well. If you're interested, you can follow me at Agro Rhetoric on Twitter. Frederick is at War Crimes Uwu on Twitch, or at FredSB on Twitter. And you can follow the show on Twitter at GutShotPod.
Yeah, this has been Gutshot, the only Magic the Gathering podcast that wonders where all the good ones have gone. We will see you next time.
Later.